Welcome to Feagan and Finch, the podcast where we discuss everything football related. I'm Alex Finch.
And I'm Ryan Feagan. Let's talk football.
So this week, during lockdown and following the international break, there hasn't been much football on. There hasn't been much to talk about. But
Nope.
one area which has been in the papers has been about England, because England are the only really games people are watching at the moment. It's been three of them. It's quite a long international break, and they haven't
Mhm.
really impressed England after
No.
doing all right over the last couple of years. Obviously, a really good World Cup, doing well in the
Yep.
Nations League, and getting far on that, beating Spain and Croatia following that World Cup to get to the Nations League finals. They haven't qualified for the Nations League finals this time after losing to Belgium and Denmark, and they've been relatively poor in recent months. England, and Southgate's come under a lot of criticism for his team choices, his formation. So he thought, let's talk about that. That's the topic at the moment. That's the big topic. England, what's going wrong with them? Having probably the best team out of any team player by player in the world, but not translating that into results. So in this podcast, we're looking at what's going wrong for England, what what can be done to get the best out of this group of players, because they're undoubtedly one of the best in a few generations, since that golden generation at least. And what team should Southgate be playing? What kind of team should he be looking at? We did a podcast previously on our preferred England team for Euro 2020. Is it still the same? That's the question. So
Yeah.
so Ryan, what have you made of England's recent results? What's been going wrong?
Firstly, I just want to say that it is an absolute travesty that we're even having international games while we're in the middle of a pandemic, Finch. I'm sure you can agree with that, because
Completely agree.
it has completely disrupted a lot of Premier League clubs. It's disrupted Chelsea. It's
Three
disrupted
games as
Liverpool a
well.
lot. Yeah, 3 games. Who wants 3 goddamn games, man? Who wants to watch that? Premier League was just getting good. Chelsea are in a really good position. They were getting in their groove, and it's just interrupted by 2 weeks worth of international games. The most
Yeah.
boring international games as well. 2 friendlies for
Yeah.
England and one, glorified friendly, the Nations League. What's all that about?
Yeah. They should
What is
just
that
got rid
all
of the
about?
Nations League. Got rid of the
Yeah,
friendlies, got rid of the Nations League. There's no need for either of them at the moment.
no
In a
need for it at all.
pandemic.
Because whoever wins it, what do they get? Oh,
Mm,
the bragging rights? Like, okay, have that. Who cares? I just want the Premier League back. It's not the
yeah.
Euros, it's not the World Cup. I do understand that we need to have friendlies and stuff like that to prepare for it.
Mm,
However, all things considered, man, what's gone on in the world the last
yeah.
near
But
enough
what,
year now, it just was not needed at all. It was
yeah,
not
but,
needed at all.
I think there's three negatives. Firstly, players get injured. Liverpool will undoubtedly know that.
Yep,
Secondly, we're going to all these different countries and mixing with different groups of players. You're out of your league bubble, your team bubble, and
yep,
there's a risk of getting coronavirus. Plenty of players have got it. Mo Salah most recently. And
yep.
thirdly, because of coronavirus and because of the league starting late this year, teams are already having to group a number of fixtures together, but they're having to group even more fixtures together because of this international breakdown. If they
There was
removed
yeah,
this, that they could have had a bit more time in between games. That meant that will
yep.
mean less injuries. But now obviously they're having to group games together more because of the
Mm-hmm.
late start, and they could have avoided that,
Yeah.
I think, over these international breaks.
The players didn't really get a pre-season at all, Finch. At the end of the day, that's what you got to think about it, and they need all the time to recover they can get, not traveling around the world. Thiago Silva
Mm.
plays for Brazil. He's going to have to miss tomorrow's game against Newcastle now because of that.
Mm. Yeah, Salah on Sunday, Liverpool.
Yeah, it's going to mess up a lot of Premier League teams. It already has. Results will tell.
Definitely. But yeah, for England though, what?
Yeah, sorry about that. We just had to have a little rant about the
it's
international
worth bringing
break.
up.
I've always hated the international break. It always happens right at the 3 weeks after the season begins, and when it's just obviously just begun, and you think, why bother? What is the point in doing it? Oh, I hate it so much. I really despise it.
Yeah. Think about it. They could do so much more. But the Nations League was the right idea, I think. It's just implemented wrongly. Like, looking like I don't really like. I hate the sport rugby. Well, I don't hate it, but I don't really like it that much. I watch the World Cup and stuff. But in rugby, they've got whenever there's the big games on in rugby, that's the main focus. All the rugby fans are tuned in for it, and it's not just the World Cup; it's the Six Nations as well. Six Nations is massive for rugby fans, and they've developed some sort of tournament in rugby where international is actually meaningful and people tune in to watch it. Football don't have that at the moment.
No, dude. Honestly, football would be like international break would be a bit more enjoyable if we had a national team that played entertaining football, which brings me into my first point about what is wrong with the England team at the minute is the manager. It's the football that he plays. You got a guy here who recently, I would say he was manager of the under-21s, didn't really do a lot for them. I'm being fair in that. And his previous role before that was managing Middlesbrough. And what did he do for them? Not a lot. He made it to a couple of semi-finals, I think, and that was it. But even Swansea City won a final. I'm not expecting the manager of them to manage England, for God's sake. It just makes no sense to me. Disappointment. It makes no sense. He gave us a good run in the World Cup. All right, I'll hold my hand up. That was one of the most enjoyable times as a football fan I've ever had.
And following a little bit following the World Cup as well.
Yeah, a little bit following. I'll be honest. Yeah, I'll be fair. A little bit following the World Cup, but I just feel like it's now going to be like he's going to go out on a sour note now. He could have gone out on a big high. He said, "Right, sorry, lads, I got you to the semi-finals. I'm just not up to this. I'm sorry. Someone else come in and take over." And we could have had like Mourinho come in, Arsene Wenger come in. We can have Pochettino come in now. There's a few managers out there at the moment who could take England to that next step and really help us challenge for that international glory. But Southgate's not the man for me. He plays very defensive, and there's just no interest to watch that. Why would I want to spend 2 hours watching us graft out 1-0 wins against Iceland or Ireland or just get slaughtered by the bigger teams like Belgium and Denmark because they know how to play counteractive football. They just know how to do it. And we got no creativity in that midfield. How can you when you play with 2 defensive midfielders, 2 wing backs and 3 centre backs and just rely on all the creativity coming from up front? But that's all well and good. But you got to get it to up front first.
Yeah. But when you actually think about it, the set of play, it made sense back in 2018 playing 5 at the back, and we said it was really good what he did there. He did really well with a limited set of players. So let's not forget he had Ashley Young at left back. He also had Jesse Lingard playing, so it was a limited set of players. But now, when you think about it, we're doing worse now than we did
with better players.
We have a much better players. Look at our fullbacks. Our fullbacks are vastly superior. Ben Chilwell, left back, much superior to Ashley Young. Trent, generational player. We've got Sancho, one of the best wingers in the world. We've got Grealish, Mount, some Foden, some great sort of cams and attacking midfielders coming through. We didn't have that. We had Lingard before in that position.
Exactly.
Even players like Henderson have developed a completely different player since 2 years ago. We have more options probably in defence with Dyer establishing himself, Mings playing there. Probably better goalkeeper with Pope or Henderson. They probably established themselves. I know Pickford was amazing at that tournament.
Exactly. He was amazing at the tournament 2 years ago, Finch. Since then, he's been just a complete liability. I think Southgate is just hanging on to these players who performed well for us at the World Cup, like Pickford, like Trippier, like Harry Maguire. People fell in love with Harry Maguire that summer. Now people fucking hate him.
Yeah.
His players, like the manager needs to know that these players are not in form. He needs to drop them and set an example. Because the players who deserve a chance are just going to think, right, well, they're playing bad, but they still get picked. And I'm playing good, but I can't get picked. So what's the point in coming out on this international break? I might as well stay with my club. It makes no sense to me whatsoever, his selections at all.
No. I think you just got to start with the goalkeeper. Pickford's been in probably the worst one of his life. He's been dropped by Everton for the first time.
Yep.
And yet Southgate continues with him, even though he's got a very capable goalkeeper in Nick Pope there. And he hasn't really put a foot wrong when he's played for England. I know probably a lot of people would favour Dean Henderson, and when he gets the chance to Man United, I'm sure we'll take him. At the moment, he's not starting, so probably Nick Pope does make sense.
Nick Pope, definitely, yeah.
And I'm not sure why he hasn't been playing. And then you look at the actual defence, and he's been playing Trippier at right back, which doesn't make too much sense when you got Saka and you've got Chilwell. I know Chilwell was injured. That's one of the reasons why, but it still doesn't make sense when you got a left back position, you play a left side player there. So many times in this international break, we've seen Trippier play left back. He's a very capable player, but he has to cut inside. He doesn't run down the left wing. It sort of cuts out a quarter of the pitch basically, because you can't go into that area because he can't overlap and that kind of thing. So that hasn't really made much sense from a defensive point of view. And then again, like you said, Maguire, although I think actually Maguire ended up having a good game in the last international v Iceland, but
against Iceland, dude.
Yeah.
What did he do against Belgium?
He didn't play, did he, against Belgium? But I think the problem with Maguire is he's been such bad club
what did he do
form.
against Denmark? What did he do against Denmark? Huh? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's been in such bad club form. I don't think. I think overall he's a very. I think I said before in a different podcast. Pickford, I think his level. He just got every single ounce of himself at the World Cup. That was his best level ever. And
exactly.
Ever since
that
then,
was his peak.
Sort of he's reduced to level. I think Maguire's overall he's a very good player, but because of what's going on in his personal life, it's bringing everything else
exactly.
down. And I think he will return to that level. I think because he is a really good player. And
he can be a good defender,
at his usual level. If he's at his usual level, I think he should be starting. But at the moment, he's not because of those outside interferences with this court case and that kind of thing. I think until that's cleared, which let's be honest, is now going to probably be after the Euros. I don't think he'll be in the right mindset. So then he probably shouldn't be playing because of that. And but overall, going back, it's hard to say stuff about this because of there's the reason behind it. Whereas like Pickford, you just see it's because he's not good enough. That kind of thing. So I think Maguire, you got to take him out because it's not fair on him. Really, that's the thing. He'll want to play, but it's not fair on him because of what's going on.
It's not fair on him, and it's not fair on his teammates, mate. It's not fair on his teammates wanting that position either. It's just not fair, Finch. Like I say, Maguire can be a great centre back. There's a reason why he had that £80 million price tag on him. That's not Billy bullshit about this. All right, he can be a great defender on his day. Maybe not worth £80 million. Maybe worth say 40, 50 even. Not 80. However, you still got to get that £40 million price tag, Finch. And that doesn't come about easy. He had a great World Cup. You know, he was fantastic for Leicester a couple of seasons back. He's not had an incredible, United career, let's be honest. But, he will find that form back, I'm sure of it. I'm sure he will. But for now, it's just not the right moment. It isn't the right moment. And he needs to be dropped. And we need to be playing people like, even bring in like James Tarkowski and Tyrone Mings, play them. Play them, give them a chance. And left back wise, you say about Saka, what about Aaron Cresswell? Call him up.
Been very good this season. Very good.
Give these players a chance. I see no reason why you wouldn't.
We did. I know we've got a selection of great right backs, but still, you want to have the naturally left-sided players in there.
Yeah,
it's just
exactly.
Always superior having a left-sided player in, especially when you've got players who can deliver like Cresswell on that side. You've got options like that. You should put them in the squad. You don't put like another right back just because they're good. I know that's what England teams did in the past. We had so many good centre mids, so we just put as many centre mids in there as possible just because they were at that level. We didn't think about the overall.
We used to play David Beckham at right mid and stuff.
Yeah, and then we Paul Scholes right mid and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Paul Scholes right mid, and they're much better down the middle. It makes no sense to try and play him there because I wouldn't say you can, just because you want to fit him in. That's what I mean. That's why I said about going back to his golden boys at the World Cup. That's what I'm saying. Like you have these great players now. His formation is like is a lot similar to the one he played at the World Cup. A lot similar. He just hasn't adapted. Finch. He's not adapted at all.
Yeah,
that was two and a half years ago.
Yeah, I think that shows his limited nature as a manager. Very good at motivating, obviously, but in terms of his actual capability to build formations, build systems, make players work in certain ways, get the best out of group of players. He's just reverted back to what worked previously. He's reverted back to players who did well for him previously. Like this team doesn't suit the 5 at the back. I know people are saying it's 3-5-2 or whatever it is, or 3-5-1-2 or whatever the system they're sort of spouting. But ultimately, it's 3 centre backs and 2 wing backs, whatever system you want to call that. That's what it is. The same thing which happened in the World Cup. And this group of players is not suited to that. I don't think. Not when you have the amount of attacking players we do. We can play some beautiful football with the players we've got. You could play Foden, you could play Mount, you could play Grealish, you could play Sancho, Sterling, Rashford, Madison. You got a host of players there.
Man. Dude, like we have so much talent, and Southgate just chooses to pick his golden boys from that World Cup, and throw in a few youngsters to make it seem like he's doing good. Like, it's absolute bullshit, man. Absolute bullshit. The defensive football we play.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why I don't watch international football no more. It's because of that reason. I just don't like it. I don't enjoy watching it.
Yeah. I'm gonna make a big comparison here. It's the closest comparison I can think of. I'm just thinking of another international team which has had this amount of sort of attacking midfielders as us. They're sort of small, very good in the ball, very technical, really good attacking midfielders, and can combine to produce some beautiful football, great goals. They're all quite similar, but they've all got their own little traits and all little niches. And we've also got the pace out wide, and obviously unbelievable attack with Kane up front. The closest team I can think of was Spain back in that 2008 to 2012 period. The amount of sort of attacking midfielders they had with Iniesta, with you could put Xavi in there because he was attacking as well as being an overall centre mid. Fabregas,
box to box,
David Silva, all those great attacking midfielders. And you would never see Spain play 5 at the back and wing backs in that system. They played a system to get the most out of their attacking midfielders, and obviously played only one sitting CDM in Busquets. Xavi played next to me. He's not really he was a much more playmaker kind of player. He wasn't like having Henderson and Rice there. Busquets is more closer to Henderson and Rice. And they wouldn't play 2 Busquets. Spain would play a system which got the most out of their attacking midfielders. I don't think Spain ever played with 5 at the back in those years, did they?
No, man. They wouldn't dare. They played the most entertaining football. Most entertaining football, Finch. I would say they're my favourite team to watch internationally wise ever. Just because of that reason. They did not play defensively. They scored a lot of goals, man. A lot of goals. They had a lot of talent, and they used that. Okay, our talent sat on the bench or just sat at home, not being picked.
Well, Sancho was on the bench most of those games.
Yeah,
he played
exactly.
He played one game and scored a really good goal. Didn't play against Belgium when we needed. He played a system again, playing a system which worked previously. Maybe all worked after World Cup in the Nations League, where he played the 4-3-3 or 3 up front, or whatever system you want to call it. I think some people were saying it's 3-3-5-3. That only works having 3 up top when you have two pacey wide man. He played Grealish and Mount in the positions Rashford and Sterling usually play, which just didn't work. But he played because that's the system he knows.
They're not quick enough. No, they're not quick enough at all. It makes me laugh how he plays. Yeah, he plays the sort of a better team in a friendly, but when it comes to the tournament, he reverts back to the old tactics, which just don't work. It makes no sense to me what his logic or reasoning behind it is. Because it worked 2.5 years ago, dude. Grow up, Southgate, man. Or get out, is it in my opinion? Get out. We need a new manager, Finch. That's what we need. That's what England needs. A new manager, a new philosophy, new tactics. We have the players. At the end of the day, we have players that can go on and win big things, man. We have a fantastic lineup if we do the right
thing. And now's the perfect time, because I think we're in the perfect period where we've got new players coming through, but then we've got a few experienced players to supplement that. And I think in a few years, it might turn a different way, because we won't have those amazing experienced players. Like at the moment, we still have the likes of Walker, likes of Kane, likes of Henderson, players who have been at the top. Henderson winning Champions League, the Premier League, Kane winning Golden Boots and World Cups, Walker winning numerous Premier Leagues. We have that experience at the moment. In a few years, all the other players will develop, but I think having the right mix is is so important, and we've got
Oh,
to make the
without a
most
doubt,
of it.
man. They've got the old guys. They've got to teach the youngsters, man. That's just
Mm,
the circle of life. At the end of the day, that's how the world works, and that's exactly how football
mm,
works. You learn, and you grow, and you get better, and then you
yeah.
succeed. Okay, you don't. What was it? You don't win anything with kids because the kids have
Mm.
nothing to learn off of, mate. You have to
Unless you're Man United back in '96.
yeah, unless you're Man United back in '96, but
Yeah.
you have to implement them with the old guys, and I have no
Mm,
issue with that. But you have to just include them and get the right tactics for them, because otherwise they're going to
mm,
learn off shitty tactics, and we'll never win anything. We will
yeah.
never win anything, mate.
I
We
think.
have the right players right now, and dude, I can give you a fantastic formation right now where a
Mm,
lot of our creative players fit in, and they'll do absolute bits for you. Hell, make
yeah.
us managers. We'll do a shift for you, and we'll
Well,
take
I
half
think
the pay.
we'll take 10% of the pay. That's fine with us. But I think you've got to, successful teams will always produce a system to get the best out of the players they have, the
Yep.
best out of the talent they have. They haven't used systems for the sake of them because they worked in the past, for the sake of them working previously, because manager knows their systems well. You've got to use a system which gets the most out of the talent you've got, and most importantly, gets the most out of your best players. Because I think that's not at the moment. If all you got to do is look at our bench from the previous games, having players like Foden, Sancho, Harry Winks even. I wouldn't include Harry Winks, I'll take him out. But like Foden and Sancho on the bench, having those kind of players on the bench and not playing them, and playing
Chilwell.
Rice, playing five at the back with Trippier or Maitland Niles or someone like that as a wing back,
Yep.
it just doesn't make sense. And that goes back to the point, you've got to get the best out of your best players and play a system to do that. Not just play a system because it worked in the past and trying to put in players because that's where they play, if you know what I mean. Like just putting in Henderson and Rice just because they're both two CDMs, putting in five at the backs that's worked before, so putting a defender I trust in Trippier. You've got to take risks, and you've got to play a system which gets the
Exactly.
best out of your best players. And at the moment, that just isn't happening. We're not playing all our best players, not finding a system to fit them all in. Like that, people always say throughout football history, a good problem to have is having too many good players in one single position. But what makes a great manager is finding a way to fit in all your good players and making it all tick over. And Southgate hasn't got that matrix, that formula worked out yet, it seems.
No, I completely agree, man. I completely agree. And the thing that needs seriously, man, the thing that needs to change is the manager, in my opinion. Like I said before, he had a great World Cup, fair enough to him. A little bit after World Cup, he was all right, and then things just went downhill, and they've gone more and more downhill. And it's time for a change. Don't leave it till it's too late to change, because these players, I say a lot of these players, we have a lot of youngsters, but we have some world-class talent in their prime years, like at their peak. We need to make the most of it. Like you said, we've got the Euros coming up. It can be a fantastic start. We have to win the Euros or nothing like that, but I'm not expecting that. Okay, we can get far in the Euros. And then the big test will be the World Cup. After we've all gelled, we had a big tournament practice. Now let's go out and, let's make it entertaining for the fans to watch an international game again. Not have fans groan and moan, we got to watch England for 2 hours, I'd rather be watching Premier League. Make us think, the Premier League's put on hold for now, but hey, we get to watch England, not, we've got to watch England, Bring us back to them World Cup days.
I think Southgate's done one thing right in getting a really good group spirit in the England team is demystified the previous sort of big challenges for England teams where there wasn't this group spirit. Nope. The golden generation, because of the club rivalries, players didn't really mix with each other too much. They had their little club circles. He's made England one
personality-wise,
He's made England one really good internal unit, but it's the external stuff he hasn't done as well in terms of when they get in the pitch, who's playing, and playing entertaining football. He's got the vibes right within the group of players, but in terms of how they play. You need to get them playing entertaining football, like you said, to make people make people fall in love with England again, want to watch England. And he's got a group of players to do that. It's just he needs to have a major rethink in embracing this new generation of players and embracing a more pleasing on the eye footballing philosophy. And you obviously got to have the formation to go along with that, and the type of play to go along with that. You have got the right players. You've got Mavericks like Grealish has been outstanding since he's come in. But
absolutely fantastic.
If Southgate doesn't do that, then obviously, like you said, someone does need to.
Dude, I'm even on board to keep Southgate on the England team, but have him be like a coach or an assistant manager.
That's perfect.
To a proper manager. Yeah. You got to face it, man. He only got this job because Sam Allardyce cocked up. That's the only reason why he's England manager right now, is because Sam Allardyce cocked up. The guy got lucky, was the right person, right place, right time. It's yours. At the end of the day, he was England under 21's manager, and he stepped up. Okay, and he, like I said before, he done good for us from 2016 to 2018. No one thought that Southgate would succeed like he has. No one, which is why I don't want him to go out on this sour note like he is. It's gone on too long. Step down, remain within the camp, but just help out a more experienced manager who knows how to manage a team other than Middlesbrough, or the youth, or like under 21s at the end of the day, because under 21s and senior international is a whole different game.
I think you're completely right. I think if it is kept there, I think because of the work he's done previously and what it's been doing in terms of keeping that group of players motivated and getting that right vibe for the group of players, I think it'd be great to have that as the assistant. But maybe that's the role which is suited to him. So I completely agree.
Yeah,
and there are some great managers out there. You've got people like Eddie Howe as well that are available who do an outstanding job.
Yeah,
for England. He's one of the natural candidates probably out there at the moment.
Yeah, I think I saw Eddie Howe was one of the favourites, along with Sean Dyche, who's not having a great stint with Burnley, but that's no reflection on Sean Dyche as a manager. It's just because Burnley haven't come up with the funds because they just can't afford to. But Sean Dyche has been an absolutely fantastic manager for Burnley. And, I think with a set of players like England have, he could do a shift. Chris Wilder, he could be a shout.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. You got to pick a manager who plays good football, picks a formation which gets the best out of players, and has a good overall footballing knowledge. Like Eddie Howe, all his Bournemouth teams, I know they got relegated this year, but they didn't get relegated because the lack of trying, because of the poor football.
They got relegated in style.
Football. Yeah, they got relegated in style, and it was this, and then it was the end of their time. They only went. They went as far as they could, just because.
But they had a 5-year stint, which they shouldn't even had a 2-year stint in the Premier League. A Bournemouth with a 10,000 capacity stadium, but Eddie Howe did that. He took them. He took them from League One, League Two, from League One, League Two, all the way up to the Premier League, and finished them within nearly the top 10. For him to do that, is absolutely fantastic. And he's young. I think he can motivate a young set of lads.
Definitely
easy. Or we go the other direction, and we have this older, experienced, world-class experienced manager, and my pick would be Arsene Wenger. I think Arsene Wenger still has at least a few more years in him as manager. I think he'd be absolutely perfect for the role. One more stint as manager, Arsene. Come on.
Well, I think as well, people say, he's not from the UK, not from England. He has love for the English game. That's where it went wrong for
he changed the English game, man.
Yeah. If you have a look at managers who have been England manager before and not been from the UK, it's been Sven, been Fabio Capello. Both managers didn't have previous long stints in the Premier League. Both of them didn't love the league, didn't love the English game. Arsene Wenger knows the English game inside out. He probably loves that game more than any other league in the world. He spent more time in that league more than any other league. He's probably more accustomed to England than any other country. So he'd be perfect for that kind of role and bringing his knowledge through. So I completely agree. Great show.
Yeah, I think Arsene Wenger with Southgate at his side, I think that is a winning combination. I think that is.
Definitely.
I like Southgate. I think I'm sure he's an absolutely wonderful guy in real life.
Mm,
He's a very likable guy. Everyone loved him during the World Cup, and we just don't want to see someone who gave us so much, enjoyment out of the World
mm.
Cup. Because I thought we had absolutely no chance to World Cup. He made me a believer after that Sweden game. Finch, we was watching that together.
We
I was
loved
like,
them.
right, we are going to win this thing. That summer was the best summer ever. Okay, and England was
Definitely.
a huge part of that. I do not want this guy to go on a bad note. Please
Mm,
remain within the England camp.
yeah. We want to see his
But
waistcoat again. We want people
yeah,
to be wearing his waistcoats. We don't want people to be not having waistcoats because that's Southgate. We want to go back to
yep,
2018. But yeah,
yeah,
I completely agree. And
we
I
want that,
guess
man. Yeah,
yeah, I was going to say I guess that's the overall solution to the problem because I think England to this problem because I think the wider background of English football and the English football team is going in the right direction in terms of the right players being produced. Like when you look at 10 years ago, England were going in the wrong direction in terms of they didn't have this funnel of talent coming through, not young players who had technical skills coming through. They changed English football. They changed all the grassroots systems and how young players were encouraged to play football. They built St George's Park. I think everything's going in the right direction in terms of players coming through and that funnel of players and elevator players coming through with the right technical skills. It's just fine tuning at the top level how those players are being put together with that manager at the helm. And I guess we've got when I said fine tuning how those players are used, we've got to look at the current team and how we get the best out of them. I think we've got to go through player by player in terms of who we start at the moment. And we're going to say at the moment, not Euro 2020, at this current moment in time. And
yep,
I think you've got to start off with the back five. And I'm saying back five, so including the goalkeeper, not back six with the five at the back. So I know we're both going to
nope,
agree it's a back five. Because
without
at
a
the
doubt,
moment,
yep,
there has been no consistency in terms of who's playing in goal, who's playing in the back four. It changes every single game.
yeah. I completely agree, Finch.
Mm.
I
And I
completely
think,
agree, man. It's got to be a four. If I say a four at back, I say just because the goalkeepers are given, obviously.
mm,
So,
yeah, I think we
who do you
both
want to
agree
start us
it's
off,
Pope.
Finchie? Yep,
Yeah, I think we
Nick
both
Pope.
agree it's Pope
Yep,
in goal at the moment. It could be
Henderson.
Henderson Bolliers. It could be Henderson in the future, but he's not playing, is he? So we
He's
can't
not. You
include
can't
him.
really decide. No, not at this moment in time. But Nick Pope for sure. Do you want to go left to right or right to left?
Let's go left to right because I think it'd be easier left back at the moment.
Left
Feel
back,
well.
free. Yep, Ben Chilwell, without a doubt. In the four, honestly, man, like, no, I don't think anyone was expecting him to live up to his price tag when he moved to Chelsea. But he has performed incredibly. Whether it be, goal scoring abilities, absolutely fine. But I don't expect that from my left back. I just want him to, pick out a fantastic pass and get the ball moving up and also defend well. And that's exactly what he's doing. But he's adding goals to his game. Always a bonus for me.
Yep, I completely agree. And he's 45 million is seeming good value for a player of his quality and being English at the moment. So he's
Yep.
living up to that, dealing with the expectations and playing also at the next level from Leicester, where you previously has moved up a level and he's shown that he can do that. So I completely agree. He needs to be in that England team because he's the best naturally left-footed player left back we have, and can deliver a ball in there. We have Saka coming through who will support him, but he's not quite at the level of Chilwell in terms of what he can offer. And I don't see him being near that level anytime soon. And probably by the time Saka develops, he won't be a left back anyway. He'll go into more of a winger position.
Yeah.
So I completely agree.
Left centre back. This is where it gets a bit more controversial because you said, as in right now.
Yeah, but over the next few months.
Oh, okay, so players because I've got an injured player at the minute, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it depends how long is that injured for. Is it like Gomez? It'd be Gomez.
It was gonna be Joe Gomez, but I get what you're saying now. So,
but would he even make even if we talk about Euros? Would he even make that?
Who are you thinking starting over Joe Gomez?
I think a player I've been impressed with lately, and has always been one of my favourite players, just because of where his comfort, where who picked him up.
I have him, man. I have
Yeah,
him, but I have him
it's
next
Mr.
to
Tyrone
Gomez.
Mings. He's
Yeah,
left-footed player, so naturally left-sided.
yeah.
Left-footed player. He dealt with Lukaku against Belgium. He's big, he's
Yep.
powerful. If you can keep
He's
him fit,
quick. He's quick, man. He used to be a wing
yeah.
back.
He's quick, he's powerful, and
Yep.
I think he is a real leader. You see what he's done with Aston Villa. He's really transformed their defence. Aston Villa fans very well. He might not be a Van Dijk, but he will be a very solid centre back. Left-footed, big. He's got all the attributes to do really well. And now he's going into his prime, 27 years old, I want to say.
Yeah.
I think he'd be a very suitable player to cover for Gomez, because ultimately I think Gomez is probably, if he stayed injury free, going to be the starting left-sided player. But I don't know over the next 6, 7, 8 months how long he's going to be out for. And we're talking at the moment,
That's true. Yeah. All right,
you
then,
can't
man.
include him. You don't know,
That's
and
fair
also
enough.
you never know with these injuries how players come back. Like Gomez
Yeah.
has been through a few injuries now, hasn't he?
Yes. Yeah. He's still only young, but it's the worst time to really get these injuries is when you're this young to get like a load of them in a row.
Hmm.
It can really mess with your career. But okay, we're going off that logic then. Got Mings, Chilwell beside him. This might shock you. It may not. I'm going with Connor Cody.
Oof. I thought you were going to go Trini though.
I think Connor Cody is absolutely fantastic. I
Hmm.
think he's bloody brilliant at the back for Wolves. His partnership with Willy Bolly. There's a reason why they're so strong defensively, and it's due to that partnership, man. He can recreate that strong partnership with Tyrone Mings. I think that would be an exceptional partnership at the back for England. Absolutely fantastic. I don't see really nothing getting past them.
Yeah, no, I'm open to that, but my name was also not a person who the starter for England and centre backs in major tournaments, but he's actually started centre back for England the last, I think, 3 or 4 games, and that's Eric Dyer. And although I don't think he's still the finished article, I think he is a very rounded centre back, rounded player, and I think it shows something that Jose Mourinho, one of the best defensive coaches in the world, was trusting Dyer as his centre back for Tottenham, and has put him in that position, giving him a new contract. But let's not forget, under Pochettino, he was unfavored at the end of that spell. Mourinho came in and said, "You're my centre back. I believe in you. Not CDM. You're my centre back. That's the position for you." And since then, he's also gone to centre back for England. And I think being able, he'll be able to develop under Mourinho even more. It's only been a year under Mourinho so far. Mourinho develops
a year to the day,
players.
actually.
Yeah, yeah. Fun fact of the day. Jose Mourinho, loving Tottenham life, but yeah. So I think he can develop even more under Mourinho, because Mourinho has a good track record. His team have a good track record of bringing through really good defensive players, and they've obviously seen something in him. So I think he could be a really good leader, because I think he's a leader as well. And I think Cody is a leader as well. So I think they're very similar in that. And I wouldn't mind either way, but I would just edge towards him, because I think what we'll learn under Mourinho. And also, you'd have 2 players there, Cody and Mings, who probably won't have had the exposure to tournaments or senior massive games with the pressures which come with those games. So I know we're talking now, but also we're talking if a big game was around the corner and suddenly they said the Euros is next week, would Cody or Mings together be able to cope with that pressure? I know at least Dyer has experience from World Cups, from Euros, from Champions League finals. We call upon.
Yeah, I guess so, man. I guess so.
But I think either or, to be honest, it's very close.
I think it would be
trying to find a little edge
there. A good partner for Mings. I think either will be a good partner for Mings. So
should we leave it as that?
I think so, yeah, man. I think either will be absolutely fine. I'm happy with either.
Yeah. But interestingly, we haven't put Harry Maguire in there, and I don't even think we need to talk about it, because we talked about it earlier.
No, definitely not, man. Harry Maguire is not an option at the minute.
Definitely. Now,
moving on to right back. This is where, again, it does get interesting. I'm sure, just like you, man, there's 2 players on our minds.
I think it's even three. I think three players you can put in there, really.
I'm
There's
not
three
putting
main
Luke
options.
Chambers there, Finch. Forget it.
Oh, I really thought you were going to put him in there, you know?
No way, Jose.
In the form of his life.
No chance, man. Get him out of there. I'm going Reece James.
Ahead of Trent.
Ahead of Trent, man. He's in the form of
Generational
his
talent.
life. So is Reece James.
No, he's he's not a generational talent. He's a
Mate,
very good player. But
he will
hasn't.
be better.
I mean, that's a big. You talk about a player who's been Champions League finals, Premier Leagues. He's been outstanding both and played like players across the world. Fans around the world would have seen Trent what he's done and recognising it. You're looking at stats. You're looking at the amount of assists Trent's got. Reece James, it's probably over the last. If you look at the assists Trent got last year, I don't know if Reece James got that same amount in his career at Chelsea. If you just look at Chelsea,
He is younger, Finchy. He is younger, but I must admit, Trent Alexander-Arnold, world-class footballer, man, absolutely fantastic. But I just feel like Reece James is better defensively. And if I've already got Ben Chilwell, bombing up that wing, I don't want both fullbacks doing it. I need someone, but Reece James can do it. Reece James has that to his game, man. He has that to his game.
Why not, though?
But definitely.
If you look at Liverpool,
I get your point.
Robertson and Trent.
However,
Man City as well.
As of right now, Finch, right? We're talking right here, right now. Reece James and Chilwell are doing fantastic, man. They're in like the team of the season at the minute. They're doing absolutely bits. That partnership's fantastic for them both, right? Chilwell, absolutely fantastic going forward. Reece James, absolutely fantastic going forward. Trent Alexander-Arnold, fantastic going forward. Fantastic cross to the ball. Can't argue that. Fantastic free kick taker even. But if someone's on the counter, I want Reece James all over that, man. He's got that power, that defensive ability over Trent, in my opinion. Trent's probably a better attacking player, but I've already got that in Chilwell, dude. I've already got that in the 5 attackers that I've got on the team. We're not playing Southgate tactics no more, Finchy.
Yeah, but I think the problem is though with Reece James, you look at him for that system, but then you got to think about it. If you've got a massive game against one of the best teams in the world, we're in a World Cup semi-final, we're in a Euro semi-final. You want a player who's going to change the game, who's going to do something to win that game. You want game changers.
That's what my midfielder attacks for. My defenders are to defend. My defenders are to defend.
Yeah, you say that, but you look in history in terms of what's happened in big games. You got to have a player every position who's had a track record of changing games. You look at Reece James. You think about, is there any big game in his career so far? I know it's very young. Has he changed a game? And you compare it to Trent.
The game against Ajax, the Champions League.
So there's one, at that level. You look at Trent. You look at a Champions League semi-final against doing something absolutely spectacular in terms of fans around the world will know.
He did it against the Champions League semi-finalists. So Reece James did it against the Champions League semi-finalists. Ajax.
But he didn't do it in the Champions League semi-final. He didn't
no, but we were like 4-1 down at the time, and he just changed that game completely, man.
Yeah, but
I'm gonna say to you, Finch, like I'd play both in the day. It depends on the game.
I was actually going to go with someone else.
Oh,
after all of that.
Are you going to pick? You are going to pick Luke Chambers, aren't you?
Interestingly, if you look at the overall ratings this season from every single rating agency, look at SoberScore, Who Scored, all of them.
Yep.
Man City's best player this season. Interestingly, all of those ratings, pundits' ratings, they all say Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker's in the form of his life at right back, and that's what I was thinking right now. If you actually look at the ratings on rating systems, I know you can only take so much things. Certain things aren't considered, obviously. But he's, according to a lot of them, I was looking, he's the second or third best player in the league, according to a lot of them at the moment. I've been watching a couple of them and really impressed. But then when I've been looking to it a bit more, I didn't realise how good he's been this year. And for England, he was fairly good. And he's probably our best player. And he's regained. I think he went off the boil a little bit, to be honest, over last year. But it seems like this season he's regained his his stature, and ultimately maybe that's because he's playing in a more favoured position. I'm not sure. Give him more freedom because it's maybe Cancelo was biting him up the neck a little bit, and now he's got to kick up the arse to get back to his previous form. But it seems like his pace is back. I think his pace went a little bit for a period about you, but it seems like he's back again. He's very powerful.
He's really quick.
Yeah, he seems like, to be honest, to me, I think Reece James will become better than him, definitely. But I think at the moment, he's like a little bit better version of Reece James in his current form. Because they're very similar in terms of attributes and pace and power. But I think ultimately Reece James will become better. But at the moment, I think Kyle Walker is just a little bit better version. Because I think they have a lot of similar attributes. They're a lot similar than Trent in terms of the attributes. Like, based on his England performances and performances this season as of now, I was gonna put him in there.
That's a really good chat, actually. That is a really good chat. We are, like I said to you many times, Finch, we are absolutely blessed for right backs for our country. We are blessed. We haven't even mentioned Wan-Bissaka.
Not at all.
No, because honestly, he does not get into this debate, in my opinion. But he is a fantastic right back. But the three that we've mentioned just levels above. Absolutely. I don't even know how we'd pick this at the end of the day, because literally any single one of these three could get in. Any. Definitely.
And we haven't even talked about Trippier.
No, did not.
But I think it's end of the road for him. I think he's done well, but he's a player which needs to make way for the next generation.
Exactly.
But I think if you look at this team, though, we've taken obviously Reece James and Trent, unbelievable talents, like drawing up talents, unbelievable players. You look at the team, it's very inexperienced in terms of that defence and goalkeeper. And because of that, I think we would have to put in an experienced right back like Kyle Walker, because someone has got to be experienced in that defence for England. When you think about it, you got to have. We said earlier, there's got to be a mixture of experience and youth.
Yeah, that's
obviously,
true.
If you look at ages, obviously Mings and Cody are 27, but they're not experienced for England.
No. Okay. On that,
I think if we did that,
man. Yeah, we'll go Walker then on that. We'll go Walker.
I don't think you could actually, even if let's say if the Euros was next month, I don't think it would just be too risky overall to do that. You've got obviously to have, like I said before, game changes, but then you can't take huge risks and put a load of inexperienced players in there.
Never win nothing with kids.
But I think Walker, if he continues his form, I've been surprised by him, to be honest, this year, because like I said before, I think he went off the boil for a little while.
He's redeemed himself a lot, I think. So, all right, I agree. That's our back five. Nick Pope in goal, Kyle Walker right back, Tyrone Mings and Connor Cody at centre back, and Ben Chilwell at left back, completing the defence. Fantastic so far.
And that's it's a very different back five to what's been playing lately, you know.
Yeah,
it's night and day, isn't it? It has Mings been playing a little bit, Dyer's been playing a little bit, Cody hasn't been the last couple of games.
Nope.
Walker's been playing a bit, Chilwell bits and bobs, but them four, I don't think them four together have ever played.
No, they haven't. Never. Definitely not, man. But Finch already, man. This team is better already. Absolutely better already. Definitely. Absolutely solid so far, man. But it's what about the midfield then, Finch?
Yeah, I think we've got to
formation are we going to go?
I think we've got to have one sitter.
Yeah,
one sitter. Like Spain. If we're talking about like Spain of golden age, they had one sitter, didn't they?
Yep. I think our formations are probably going to be the exact same then, Finchy. So
I think if you look at the moment, is it that one sitter? Some people might lean towards Declan Rice, but I think at the moment he's going to be a great player going forward. But I think at the moment Henderson has that experience. We've got to have a few experienced players in there.
We've got to have a captain at the end of the day, Finch. Yeah. We have to have a captain. And Declan Rice is fantastic, don't get me wrong, but he's not captain material at the minute.
No.
I like Harry Kane. Harry Kane's definitely getting in our team, but I've never really agreed with having a captain who's up top. I'm always someone who's like in the middle or in like the defence, you know? I don't want like my captain shouting from the back. I want my captain shouting going forward. So I wouldn't say Harry Kane. I would say Henderson without a doubt.
And I think we've got down that spine now as well. We're going to have Kane there. We all know that.
Yep.
We've got a leader, two leaders at the back with Mings and Cody. I think they're both all dire. I think all three are leaders. All three.
Yep.
I think Cody's been a captain. Is Mings Aston Villa captain potentially? He's definitely vocal.
Honestly, I think Jack Grealish is captain, isn't
Yeah, I think you're right. But he's definitely captain material, Mings.
he? Yep.
I think he's a deputy, maybe I want to say then.
Yeah, he must be
And
vice
then
captain.
yeah, and then you got Henderson, who's definitely captain material as well.
Yep.
So I think having leaders throughout is definitely worth. I think now's the hard bit, isn't it? In terms of, I'm thinking two players in front of them. Is that what you're thinking?
I'm thinking two players in front of him, yeah. Without a doubt, mate. I've got my two right. Well, I got 2/3 because either one can play next to this guy. So my guy for the left-hand side, I think we're going to agree on this one, is Jack Grealish.
Definitely.
Having
As
a
of
real
now.
season. Yeah, having like the season of his life, man. He's been phenomenal. This is like his peak years, man. He is doing so good. So good. He does like there's not a team that he doesn't get into the Premier League at the minute. He's that good. He is absolutely fantastic. So he's a given. Absolute given. Who's played next to him? I've got one. It could even be one of three players, honestly, dude. I'm gonna go with. I'll go with. This might shock you, actually, man. That I'm not going with Mason Mount.
No, I didn't think you were going to.
I'm going to go James Maddison.
Oof.
Yeah.
As of now, though, he hasn't been playing much, though, has he?
No,
He's
but
just come
dude,
back from
man,
injury.
when he come, yeah, but every time that he's come on for Leicester, he's done something, man. He is phenomenal. You see that goal he scored against Man City?
Yeah.
He is a fantastic player. Absolutely fantastic. He can do it all. He can do it all, mate. He's got a bit of height about him too, which I like. He is fantastic. I think him and Grealish would be a brilliant partnership, man. Absolutely brilliant. But end of the day, you could put Mason Mount in there. Also, you could put Phil Foden in there, dude. He's having a great season at the minute. Any one of them three could go in that team. Any single one. Honestly, you could even have Ross Barkley. Ross Barkley and Jack Grealish work so well together. They're having a great season, Aston Villa. Fantastic season. They annihilated Arsenal, annihilated Liverpool. Like, annihilated. The champions of England, they annihilated.
No, I
completely ran riot. So you could have one of four. You could have, mate.
I agree.
You could even have Trent Alexander-Arnold play that position.
Definitely. Well, I actually think if we slightly changed the formation and had two sitters, you'd have Busquets and Xavi. Trent would do the Xavi role.
Yeah.
In my opinion, Trent, I think he can do it in the future because he's got the passing.
I reckon he can.
Do that.
Yeah.
I think he would do that role because I don't think who else are you gonna have? Harry Winks there. You're not gonna have Declan Rice also there because you had two similar players. So if you're gonna play that kind of formation, then I think you'd probably put Trent in there. But going with the formation we've just talked about, I think definitely Grealish, the form of his life.
Yep.
And I think it's sad that Maddison is almost what happened to Grealish like 6 months to a year ago. He hasn't been got a look in for England. One England appearance he's had, and that's similar. I think Grealish only in the most recent round of fixtures got his competitive debut.
Yeah,
that was his competitive debut against Belgium, and he was the best player on the pitch.
Yeah.
So I think the same kind of story there. And I think if you had Grealish and Maddison, if Maddison had a few more games, then I would say yeah, because I'm a big fan of his. Even though he's from Norwich, well not from Norwich, he's Bavelam, massive fan.
Yep.
But at the moment, I'd probably put Foden ahead, just because that his last England performance is one. But I know it was against Iceland, but because I feel like he's gonna slowly but surely cement his place in the Man City team. And once he's that Man City team, he's only going to get better and better playing with Guardiola and playing alongside those kind of players. So I think he'll naturally cement that role. And I think maybe in the future, because I do think Grealish is absolutely unbelievable, but I think maybe he's just going through an absolute amazing spell of form. So I think maybe in the future, when things calm down a little bit, it might be a flip of the coin between Grealish and Maddison. I'm not completely sure, but that could happen. But at the moment, Grealish is probably the number one player on the team sheet because of
Yeah.
how well it's playing. But then that shows that it just depends on form. If you have a player like that being the form of his life, you've got to play him.
Yeah. And dude, we've just mentioned like Grealish, Madison, Mount, Barkley, Foden. 5 players there. And we didn't play one of them before. We played, a midfield of Henderson, Declan Rice, or Eric Dyer and Declan Rice. 2 CDMs, not one creative midfielder. How does Southgate get away with that?
Yeah, that is criminal because in the talent there, especially like
what you have.
Yeah, that is absolutely criminal when you think about it. But
yeah,
the talent and how well they're playing, like how well Grealish should be starting every game. To be honest, Foden, the talent he has, throughout his England age groups, he's been the standout player. Really, you look at under 17 World Cup, he got the golden ball ahead of Sancho. He was an outstanding player. He's got BBC, whatever young sports person of the year, whatever that means. He's got in the League Cup final last year. He was the player of the game. Whenever he plays, what am I talking? Player of the game, not American man of the match.
The
whenever
MVP.
he plays, MVP. Bloody hell, we've got this draft coming along. But yeah, no, we're not American. But yeah, he is a standout player with his talent, and he is a typical Spanish player. He reminds you of the Iniesta of this world. So I think we've got to utilise that kind of talent, and I think that's the beauty of it. Like those kind of forward players, I think you have in tournaments, especially as well. In big tournament, you have a bit more room to play around with them, like swap players a bit more. You got to keep your back four very consistent. You got to have a solid foundation. You've got to really have your solid defensive play. That like Henderson, that stays pretty consistent. But in terms of the forward players, you can mix them around a little bit. And I think we'll be able to do that. So I think maybe it will be a mix between Madison, Grealish, Foden, Mount, or a different player if they come to perform. But Barkley, I was thinking about him before Barkley.
Dude, he's had such a career resurgence. Such a career resurgence.
But then I do think he's had his chances with England. He's played over 30 times. I know he's had a career resurgence, but I'd rather give players like Mount, like Grealish, like Madison a chance ahead of him, because ultimately Barkley is going through a form of resurgence, but he's played over 30 times for England and he's had his chances and he didn't necessarily take them. Whereas Mount, Grealish, Madison haven't had that number of chances and probably have greater potential than Barkley does. Barkley is 26 at the end of the day. They're much younger, that they probably can reach greater heights and will be in the England team for longer periods. The same with Dele Alli if he ever came back to form.
That's true. Dele Alli could also be a shout. He showed displays of signs of world classness, and then he just seemed to drop off the radar a bit. But
he's 24 England as well.
Yeah,
24 years old.
We are blessed at the end of the day, Finch. We are blessed with this array of England talent, but none of it's getting used.
No,
it's criminal. It is criminal at the end of the day. Absolutely disgusting.
Well, look at that team so far. If you had Pope, you had, let's say, Kyle Walker, but we've got James and Trent in our back pocket as well. If you have Cody or Dyer, and then you have Mings alongside them, then Chilwell, best left back in the league at the moment, I would say. Then you have Henderson, one of the best CDMs in the world at the moment. There's probably a lack of CDMs in terms of that type of CDM at the moment compared to previous generations. And then you have some of the best attacking talent in the world, bar none, in terms of a mixture of Grealish, Madison, Mount, Foden, all in their early 20s. Well, Grealish is 25, but the rest of the group, early 20s.
Yeah.
They're only going to get better.
Exactly, dude. Exactly. They're only going to get better at the end of the day.
So are we saying definitely Grealish at the moment, and then the second one?
Henderson, yep.
Second one, Henderson, and the third midfielder. Should we put a slash?
Yeah, I think slash. I think a slash would be fine.
Is it Madison / Foden with Mount a tiny bit behind them? Just
Mount, Mount like on the bench, definitely.
So I feel like he's just at the moment a stage below them in his development.
He's getting there. He's definitely getting there.
Yeah,
he's only 20.
There's more to do with his development, isn't he? That's
He's
not to do with
21,
his.
but
Yeah.
he's definitely getting there, man. He will be a huge player, but just not yet.
Mm.
You know,
It's just
he's showing. Yeah, he's definitely a lot better in the midfield than he is on the wing, mate. So
Yeah.
he's
That's
going
why he's
nowhere
played
near
completely play
there.
that position. Completely play that position. There's no point in playing him if you're not going to play him in his best position. Obviously, every player will want to play for England, but you want to get we were talking before, getting the best out of the players you have. You're not going to do that playing Mount on the wing.
Nope.
At all.
Nope. Definitely not, mate.
At all.
Definitely
Front
not.
three.
So front three time. Well, I think we may have our front three already sorted, Finch.
I think
Let's be honest. I think really anything's changed from our second podcast where we discussed our England, or even our first podcast, our England team. You know, where we had Jadon Sancho on the right, Harry Kane striker, and Raheem Sterling on the left.
Yep, that's completely it. And again, Southgate, he's not played Sancho for one reason or another. I don't know why. In the big games, he played him against he was at Republic of Ireland. He scored the goal, but he didn't play him against Belgium, where he brought him as a sub too late. I know he didn't start the season in crazy fashion. He's got a couple of goals in Europe and in the cup, and that's it. He hasn't scored in the league yet, but he's still outstanding talent, and by far one of the best players we have in terms of wingers. He's got the pace. He's got something no one else has, and he set up when he came on in midweek against Iceland. He made a difference. Only setting up his mate Foden. That link up between them two could be unbelievable through England age groups. They've worked so well together. If you look at his age, 20 years old, he's already got 30 goals in 84 appearances for Dortmund. Dortmund, one of the best teams in the world.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt, man. Honestly, this team, I'm just looking at it now, this team that we have, that is some tasty football that will go on in this team, man.
Who would you have on the bench though? If you were only allowed five, let's say six players on the bench.
6 players, including goalkeeper.
No.
So obviously Henderson and goalkeeper for sub. I'd have one of or two of, say, Walker, because Kyle Walker can also play centre back, but we're going to have him starting, so it'll be James and Trent on the bench. I'd have Ross Barkley on the bench.
Ooh, head of Mount. You have Mount in there.
Okay, no, okay, I'd have Mount then. I'll have Declan Rice in place of Henderson. I would have Greenwood on the bench.
Definitely.
And I would also have Danny Ings on the bench.
Agreed. If he was fit, he's always going to be injured for the next 5 months.
If he was fit. If he was fit, without a doubt.
I agree. He'll offer something different. Like, in my opinion, Dominic Calvert-Lewin is a worse version of Kane. He doesn't offer anything different to Kane if he counts the bench.
Nope.
Kane scores headed goals for fun. That is what Dominic Calvert-Lewin does. And Kane's a better, more all-round player. If you had Danny Ings, different player, more pacey, scores goals for fun as well, but different kinds of goals. Even same with, I'd rather have Ollie Watkins out of Dominic Calvert-Lewin or Tammy Abraham.
Yeah. Oh, mate, Tammy Abraham, Didn't even think of him. But I still would go Danny Ings. I still would. He deserves that chance, man.
Definitely. And his goal record is second to none over the last couple of years.
Yes, exactly. So without a doubt, Danny Ings.
I think he would be the final sub then in terms of.
And that England team managed by Arsene Wenger with Gareth Southgate by his side.
Beautiful.
Let's have it.
Oh, are you putting Marcus Rashford on the bench actually?
Over Greenwood or Ings? No, in my opinion. That's the honest opinion. No. Not because I dislike Marcus Rashford for any reason. I obviously respect all that he's done, and whatever, and all that jazz. But as a footballer, I think he's incredibly selfish. I think he goes for way too many shots. I think he's good. However, I think there's more potential in Mason Greenwood and Danny Ings off the bench.
Definitely. I think Greenwood is a young player going for a difficult spell.
Yeah.
but his talent is undoubted, and he's gonna come back and be unbelievable. He can even overtake Kane in years to come.
Oh, mate, without a doubt. Without a
He's
doubt.
that good, and you can't think of any other player, any other
hmm
striker who could overtake Kane apart from Greenwood. I
No.
can't think of anyone who has the potential to overtake him.
No, me neither. Me neither, mate. But hey, this time next year we could be saying the same about an up and coming striker. Maybe even Shay Adams could have the season of his life.
Bloody hell! Let's not talk nonsense. Bloody Will Keane's better than Shay
No,
Adams.
I knew that was coming. You can't go one podcast without mentioning that fucker.
James Norwood scored more goals in his career than Shay Adams.
Mental, mate.
Shay Adams has got 61 goals and 241 appearances apparently in the league. Yeah,
He's quite young as well, ain't he, Shay Adams?
I think he's
22,
24.
23.
24.
That's still not old. That's not young.
He could, yeah.
Old.
He could push on and do well.
Mate, he's showing signs of it this season.
Also, right back, we haven't even considered at Southampton. If we're talking about Southampton, Kyle Walker-Peters, unbelievable for them.
Yeah, but mate, we are just blessed. We are so blessed. Being like an England B team, we are that blessed.
And also, when you look at left backs, we're pretty blessed. So I know Chilwell's the front runner, but Southgate just doesn't use the options. He just seems putting all the right backs in there just because we've got good right backs. Play one of them at left back when Chilwell's not fair. He doesn't use Bertrand, doesn't use Cresswell,
Saka.
You've got plenty of depth there.
Oh mate, easy. We are so stacked in the wing back department. And the midfield department.
Definitely. I would say
every department, man. Every department. But that's what I mean. That's why it's frustrating for us that we have this incredible squad, but we still play the same old shit every single time. It makes no sense to us. And, that's why me and Finch done this podcast. We needed to voice our opinion. We need to get out there and hope for a change. Hopefully there is one to come.
If the FA are listening, well, our thoughts. We call us up and we'll sort it out.
We'll do it, man. Like I say, 10%.
10%. We've got you. We'll sort out the group of players. We'll play the group of players which will win the tournament.
Exactly.
The only issue I think we'll ever have problems with is right back, and we'll have good problems because there's bloody too many good right backs. That's right.
Yep.
So it's a great problem to have.
It's the best problem to have, Finch.
And that's what you want as a team. Like years gone past, even like the golden generation, it was only Gary Neville, weren't it? Look at 3 of those right backs. They're better than Gary Neville.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
And that shows the levels of this team. I think the only player they're missing really from that golden generation maybe is that centre mid, a Gerrard or a Lampard.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
So I think every other player you probably have it covered, to be honest. Maybe a couple of centre backs would do, but
maybe like a John Terry or like a Ferdinand but honestly, man, like every other position you could argue is better. Really, you definitely you do have an argument for it. Definitely, you could say Harry Kane's better than Wayne Rooney.
At least par Wayne Rooney. I'd say they're very similar levels, to be honest.
You could say that Sancho and Sterling better than like Joe Cole and Young playing left wing and whatnot, or Wright Phillips. Can't remember who else used to play I think wings for England.
Yeah, Beckham, but Beckham's obviously outstanding crosser. But if you look at Sterling's actual goals ratio, how many goals he's got, it's unprecedented. He doesn't get enough credit, Sterling, at all in terms of what he's done. But imagine like years ago, growing up, I was thinking of like a winger which would get 20 goals, 18 goals, 17 goals. It'd only be like Ronaldo or something like that.
Or like
in
Messi.
the Premier League, I'm just talking, or Messi.
Oh yeah.
And then obviously Ronaldo and Messi set super standards with 40, 50 goals a season. But in terms of going back to those regular standards, and like that is sort of best in the world kind of standards before Ronaldo and Messi getting 20 goals as a winger in the league. So I think he probably has a case ahead of like Beckham and those kind of players. Then you look at the fullbacks, actually Cole generational, but the right back, left back, Chilwell is not too far behind Ashley Cole in terms of ability. In terms of career, is way behind him, but in terms of ability, goalkeeper we're better placed now.
Miles better than Paul Robinson and Rob Green and Scott Carson. Gone are those days, Finch. Gone are those days. But they won't be gone if we keep playing Jordan Pickford. They will not be gone. We need Nick Pope. I'll even have Tom Heaton over Pickford.
And Pickford's only 26, so if he's has a couple of years out, you never know. He could come back and develop a bit more.
That's what he needs. That's what happened to Ross Barkley. He got put out. He needs to know that he will be dropped if he's not performing, and so he has to up his game. And once he ups his game, he's welcome back in the team. That's just standard nature of football, Finch.
He reminds me of Joe Hart a bit when Joe Hart sort of came in. Like, I think Joe Hart's a better goalkeeper, has had a better career, and will have a better career than Pickford. But Joe Hart came in absolutely incredible, probably better standards than Pickford in terms of what he did Man City, in the saves he did, the form he had. But then he was always too emotional, and his heart was always too much in it for England, and that went against him. And then he got to a stage and hit a block where he couldn't improve any further and just went downhill. It seems like Pickford's sort of doing that. He reached his peak. Maybe he hasn't. Maybe I'm just ruling it out, but it seems like he reached a peak, and then he's never been able to hit that again. And that's sort of what happened to Joe Hart. Joe Hart reached a peak quite early on.
Yeah.
And that could be the same scenario, because Joe Hart people forget he played 75 times for England, which is quite crazy. And he's
that's a lot of caps.
only 30, 33, which is usually young for a goalie.
And you got to think, he's been out of the game like 3 years now. He's been nearly more than 3 years, really. He's been out of the game ever since Pep arrived at City. That was his time was up.
4 years.
Yeah.
4 years ago. Which is madness when you think about it. Considering the levels he was at before starting for the champions, to doing that.
Exactly.
It just shows you can flip a coin. But that showed his ability. That showed his ability. Well, no, I think overall he was very good. It's just he deteriorated very quickly, and then he could never get to those standards. I think Pickford could be similar. Once you put him in a different scenario, he doesn't seem to do it. And I think it will show at Everton if Ancelotti doesn't trust them. If he gets sold, if they buy a new goalie in, then it says it all. But on that note, I think we've got a beautiful team there. Absolutely beautiful team.
Yeah, definitely one that can challenge for the Euros, for the World Cup, anything that comes in their way, mate.
And on that note, if the FA want to call us up, they can. We've outlined the team. We've told you what to do, and that's our podcast over and out.